Welcome to Cello Tuesdays. I'm Diane Chaplin, and I'm going to be playing live streams the first Tuesday every month for forever, it looks like. No, I really enjoy doing them, so I have a whole program for the entire year already planned. This is the first day of Black History Month, and I'm really honored to be presenting a program of wonderful, wonderful music by Black composers tonight. A few housekeeping things first. The Portland Cello Project is going to be on tour in March and April. March, we're on the West Coast from Seattle, Portland, down to San Francisco, and in April, we're going to start in Montana and go east to Chicago. Go to the Portland Cello Project website after this broadcast and buy tickets. And then when you come to the shows, come say hi. We love saying hi to folks that have been paying attention to us. So please come and say hi to us. And then in February, so in a couple of weeks actually, February 19th and 20th, I'm playing a concerto in Salem, Oregon. So if you're around here, I think it's worth the drive to Salem if you live in Portland. It's a full-length concerto by Tchaikovsky that was reworked by Gaspar Casado. It's a very unknown piece. So that's Feb 19th and 20th with the Salem Philharmonia. Okay, now to today's program. I'm going to start with a work by the composer Alison Loggins Hull. She is a flutist and composer. She lives in New Jersey, and she is definitely an up-and-coming composer. The Washington Post recently named her a composer to watch. So if you haven't heard her music before tonight, chances are you're going to hear some more of it very soon. This year, for instance, she has works being performed by the Los Angeles Philharmonic, the San Francisco Symphony, and the Cincinnati Symphony. So I think that she is someone who's you're gonna hear from. And she's a wonderful composer. The work that I'm gonna play was written in 2016, and I'm gonna kind of paraphrase some of the notes that the composer has written about this piece. It's called Stolen. And Stolen is a sonatina of three short movements that explore the journey of a young girl who is sold into marriage. Today, one-third of girls in the developing world are married before the age of 18, and 1 in 9 are married before the age of 15, most often against their will. The first movement of the piece represents the stolen youth of this girl and her lamentation of saying goodbye to childhood. The second movement, which you'll recognize because there's strumming that goes on, this is a movement that explores anxiety, the sense of urgency felt by her in having to be forced into this life that she doesn't want, and the knowledge that soon she'll have to bear children before she's ready. The third section is calmer and slower, sadder, and this is her resignation, her kind of resentful acceptance, and her submission to this life that she does not want. And at the very end, we hear, in a sort of nostalgic fashion, we hear the music about her lost childhood from the beginning that reappears. So this is Stolen by Alison Loggins Hull. The next work I'm going to play is by a composer from England named Samantha Fernando. And so I try very hard to play not necessarily pretty music all the time, but music that's not too violent on these live streams, because I think it's hard to watch music like that on a screen. I think that's better served in a big hall. And so I will warn you that there's a little bit of violent sound in this piece, but put to good use. There's a reason for it, and the piece is short. This piece is called Faultline. It was written in 2015, and since then, one of the things that Samantha Fernando has been really, really involved with is doing an opera in hyper reality that was commissioned by the Royal Opera House in London. It's a virtual reality opera, like in VR with goggles, where some of the action is live and some of the action is happening in virtual reality, which I think is an incredibly, incredibly cool thing. So she's been very involved with that. But this piece was written in 2015, and I think there aren't notes about it, but I think we can all figure out what Faultline refers to, because it's an earthquake, and you will notice very much earthquake-like. When I say the violence, it is to demonstrate this earthquake-like situation. But I think my guess is this is also metaphorically emotions, that we have earthquake-like emotions, and then after the earthquake sounds, which you'll hear right away at the beginning, there's this period of just stillness, and sometimes even lyrical lines appear, but just the chasm of emotions when we have earthquake-like feelings, and then the bottom drops out of that. So you can see this piece either metaphorically or literally. This is Faultline by Samantha Fernando. My original idea for this program was to present music by 4 Black women. I was really excited that I found 4 wonderful pieces. There's this little piece of my bow here. I'm going to grab my clippers and clip it off. I was really excited that I found music by 4 Black women that were so wonderful. And then then I decided to put in something by a guy. So I've got one token male on this program, which is going to be my next pieces. And the reason I'm playing them is because they're so beautiful. These are two Nigerian folk songs by Godwin Sado, and I thought it would be really nice to have something really lyrical and pretty to contrast with the earthquake that we just heard. Godwin Sado is one of the leading classical musicians in Nigeria. He was trained in the US, and he was the first Nigerian to receive a doctorate in music composition. And he is organist, composer, and in 2021, in September 2021, he published a set of Nigerian folk songs for cello, either solo or as a duet. I kind of combined the two, kind of made my own hybrid of the solo part with more harmony in it. And so I'm going to play two of these. If you heard my January broadcast, where I played music from all 7 continents, you heard one of these folk songs as the Africa contingent, and that's not the right word, is the Africa entrant. And I'm going to play not that one. I'm going to have because it's a set, right? So I'm going to play 2 other ones. The first one I'm going to play is called The Work of the Lord, and this is ascribed to Thomas Ekundayo Phillips, who is known as the father of Nigerian church music. These are both indigenous church hymns, indigenous hymn tunes. And the second one is called Hear the Voices of Angels. Next up is a piece called Shades by Diana Wallace, and this was written in 2019. She's a composer who is originally from Kansas. She's finishing up her master's degree at Michigan State, or at least she has been. And she's also a cellist, so this is interesting. She wrote this piece, in fact, for her cello teacher, whose name is Dr. Leonid Shukayev. I'm sorry, I do not know this guy. So the shades referenced here in this piece are kind of shades of different tone colorings around the cello. The piece is very much centered on the note D, and you will hear sort of freely written figures that blur that tone of D around. You'll also notice through the work, so there are these sections that are written to kind of be played somewhat improvisatorily. There's a certain amount of freedom in the piece. There's also something that I find quite funny, which is that there are breathing places marked in. And I kind of, you may have noticed, I don't know if it comes across on the live streams, I'm a little bit of a heavy breather, and I have been told in recording sessions and things to like literally stop breathing because it's coming out onto the microphone. And so I find it very amusing that it's almost as if this piece were a parody of me, that breathing places have been written in. So you will notice them. I take it as a compliment in some way that other people breathe too. This is Shades by Diana Wallace. So I've got one more piece for you tonight. And this is the piece, this is the earliest composed piece on the program by the grande dame of African-American female composers, Dorothy Rudmore. She was born in 1940. She lives in New York. And this is going to be the Baroque suite for unaccompanied cello. She was a co-founder of the Society for Black Composers and very, very active in New York in the second half of the 20th century in the music scene. She was married to cellist and conductor Kermit Moore, and she wrote this piece for him as a wedding present. She presented it to him on January 1st, 1965. And what she's done with this piece is she's taken the kind of idea, the concept of Baroque unaccompanied suites like the Bach suites, and then written music that I think is a little tongue-in-cheek. I find it kind of snarky, kind of clever. So the first movement, she doesn't call them by the names of the suites. She just calls it Allegro. I think it's a little bit of a takeoff on a courant. It's very bouncy and crisp, but it's in 5, and Baroque music is never in 5, so that gives it this slightly limping kind of quality. The second movement is marked molto adagio, and it would be referencing the sarabande, the slowest of the movements. This is very beautiful, very romantic. It is my favorite movement of the suite. And then the last movement would be the gigue. It is marked allegro vivace. And gigues are generally in a meter of 6, so they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, dun 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 dun. That would be your kind of normal gigue. And again, we have asymmetry here. She writes a 7-beat phrase, so her music goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Which is disarming and definitely not something that you can dance to like you might have been able to with a Baroque dance movement. So this is the Baroque suite from 1965 by Dorothy Rudmore. I'm going to tune first. Happy Black History Month. Celebrate in some way. Celebrate by admiring art or something else, by all the wonderful people of color that we have creating things today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next month is Women's History Month, an all program of music by women composers from various parts of the world, including Swerve by Jessica Meyer for cello and loop pedal. It's spectacular. I'm really excited about using all my electronic equipment. See you soon. Bye.